Hey everybody, this is your boy Sean motherfucking Evans coming to you live. Well, not live, but you know the old pre-recorded intro. And on the latest episode of Cabin Fever Podcast, it's just Matt and I in the old Cabin Fever studios, and we are discussing the van life, UFC 200. I know it's kind of old news now, but, yeah, you want to get our take on it? Take a listen. And then we also discuss my latest home brew and just beer in general and all that good stuff. So stay tuned to the podcast and enjoy. Goodbye.
Cabin Fever.
We'll ask the question again.
Okay.
All right.
What I'm asking Sean is, because Sean is about to embark on the van life. He's got his van and preparing for, customizing it to his liking, to be livable.
Exactly.
And, we've talked about how he's lived in this cabin for how long?
Since 2012.
Okay. So, going
summer
4
of
years.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was asking him, if he would have made the same transition had he not been living in such a small space.
Right, and then so I was just telling Matt that I grew up in an apartment, and I was always kind of a person that enjoyed my room, so I was kind of always living in my room or venturing out into the living room, watch TV, things like that. And then, so as I got older, and then eventually when I moved out into a house. And we've talked about it before in the podcast. I fondly call it Lipscomb, and that's just a little cul-de-sac that we lived on. That's where the house was located. And it was basically a frat house. A bunch of dudes lived in it. And again, so really the only space I had was my room. Also a little tiny space. And then so eventually went from the house, moved in an apartment with Chris. Again, it was really only my room, and then the living room and the kitchen and all that stuff. But it was never really my space. It was shared space, and then my only space that I always considered just my little space was obviously my room. So again, a small space. And then transitioning into a tiny home, a little tiny house, the Cabin Fever Studios, the studio. Also a very small space. Mm-hmm. And for me, probably the largest space I've lived in that was just my own. So I've got my own bathroom, I've got my own kitchen, I've got my own living room, family room, bedroom, entertaining room, a whole deck studio. Yeah, and I got a nice front yard deck, and it's a great little space. But yes, to your question is definitely yes. The cabin definitely helped me realize that you don't really need that much space to live. Mm-hmm. And my true dream is to eventually build my own tiny house on a decent sized trailer, completely build it, customize it to my specs. And right now I'm doing that with the van. So like you said, I am really, it's just kind of superficial stuff right now. I'm just kind of tailoring it to what I like, just completely getting the van ready. I'm not trying to rush it and just rush everything and do a half-assed job at it. I really want to make something that's going to last a long time. And really the van it's the framework and everything, the structure of it, it's all there. I'm just kind of tailoring it to what I like and what I want to be able to live in, because it is definitely going to be a downgrade in square footage when it comes to living space, but in the grand scheme of things, every time I walk into it, I'm like, oh, damn, it's a lot bigger in here than you'd think.
Oh, that's good.
I'm like, every time I go in, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And I'm really actually looking forward to it. And I'm just looking forward to a change, a new challenge, something that's going to make me mobile. And, of course, there's going to be new challenges that are going to pop up with just living in a vehicle, you know. I mean, it's technically not legal here, especially here in San Diego. So I'll just have to get out there and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I do have big plans. Like I want to do a lot of BLM land, which is free camping. You could usually stay in one spot for 14 days. I mean, that's 2 weeks of living, of just enjoying the desert. It's typically all desert area. I'm sure there's some forest areas out there in Northern California that you could probably camp at for, if not cheap, for free, hopefully.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my big plans. I want to get out there and do some traveling. I want to get back to why I love photography, and I just want to do a lot of traveling. And I have no excuse to not visit family that I've been putting off visiting because of, I'm stuck here in San Diego, I got to work, or plane tickets are too expensive, or anything. I'm entering a completely mobile life. And I do plan on, because I did start, when I first got the van, I started a YouTube channel kind of following my progress with the van. I stopped doing that because I felt like I wasn't making the videos how I would truly like to make videos, and I felt like I had to take a break, and I just had to concentrate on just working on the van, just getting the things done instead of having to like set up shops, set up specific shots for the van so I can make the videos. And then it just seemed like I was creating more work, and I was going through a lot of other personal stuff last year, so it was just too much, I was trying to take on too much, and now I'm at a good pace. I have a time frame now to where the van will be completed, and it'll be good to go, and it'll be livable, and I'm so stoked, so excited. I cannot wait.
I think that's super exciting that, like you said, every time you enter it, you get like more pumped for it.
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
a really good sign of things. Especially you're putting your own touch on it.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, exactly. So, so every time I do walk into the van, I am adding just a little extra, a little bit, just baby stepping a little bit closer to finally the finished product and finally having a comfortable space. Because I also want to, we talked about this in the book chat podcast, where I do want to create a space where I can be creative and be able to write and have a comfortable atmosphere where I can just be creative, really. Be it writing or creating videos or anything and everything, really. Podcasting, all that good stuff.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's a mobile podcast.
Yeah. See? We'll definitely be able to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be cool, like the spaces and places like you discover along the way too, of just like, even if it's just camping that you have to pay for, be like, hey, check out this amazing campground. I'm going to be up there for a few days.
Right.
And for me, I get to be like, oh, sweet, like I'm going to come check it
Yeah,
out.
I'm really hoping people will want to follow in, along the journey and just see how it goes.
Oh, I think so.
Van life.
And I mean, I'm sure you're like me, where you follow people on Instagram that are doing van life and stuff that, and it's just like really sucks you in to like
it does.
The fact that they've made the transition and like all these cool places they're seeing, and experiencing,
Yeah.
Without that weight of like, well, got to get back and pay rent, like that's just such a big part of it. Especially nowadays, it's like, especially for someone like you who, you take it all on yourself, you run your own business, and you're successful at it. Like, I feel like a lifestyle, reimagining your lifestyle design to kind of incorporate everything is just kind of like a necessity of like modern day, Like,
oh, absolutely.
And maybe, something will take off to one day where you can like plant your feet at like a nice house and then travel all the time. But like in the meantime, it's like you can do both,
Well, and another aspect of this is, like you said, there won't be any rent, so I'll be able to save. My plan is to save a bunch of money so I could, down the road in the future, buy some land. And like I said, I want to build a nice little tiny house, and I would love to, if I was to have a community of friends go in like on a sweet little piece of property. I don't know if it's doable here in San Diego. I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's doable anymore, but we'll see. And I think that would be great, have our little corners and then have like a nice little center area where it's just like a small little community of people who can just hang out, and it's our land to do what we want to with, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I just feel like the van opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
A lot of possibilities.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And speaking of land, I feel like, because I just was having this conversation with my dad, and his wife's son just moved to Idaho, and so my dad was looking at properties and stuff up there, and he was showing me this like nice cabin on 20 acres of land, for going for like $200,000 or so. I mean, 20 acres, unfathomable amount of land, and it's lush, trees, hills, mountains, and I'm like, what?
Does it snow there?
Yeah, it snows there.
It damn it if it didn't snow.
But I mean, I think sometimes it
is nice to have change, because we get spoiled here in San Diego. We don't really have seasons. It gets a little cloudier during the winter.
I think to get on board with the idea of moving to another state is just dismantling this idea of San Diego, because it is so great.
Yeah.
But just as getting older and stuff too, it's just like I want to like plant my feet somewhere where I'm not like I can actually like buy some land, like you said, just like have it that's my own and everything like that. And I think overall it's gonna take like a big move like that. But anyway, that's another conversation altogether. Yeah. But it's doable,
Absolutely.
And I see a lot, like I was just reading like a tiny house blog about a couple that bought a semi-truck trailer and we're converting that, which is like a huge amount of space.
That's a mansion.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they were just, weighted with school debt, and which I can't even imagine that,
Yeah, imagine two people that are both trying to be doctors. They're both going to have almost $500,000 in debt combined together. Like, that's insane. Yeah. That's a house right there.
Exactly. So, anyway, it was just about finding some land and completely customizing this trailer, which I was like, wow, this looks incredible, So, it's definitely doable, and I like that there's a community sprouting, and I like to hear people that don't really know much about it and critique it, because I feel like they're still ingrained in that, like, we have to have as much space as possible, or the biggest house possible, or like all this stuff, and just like really, like you really don't need it. Less is more kind of thing.
Well, I'm a real estate photographer, so I see a lot of houses, and every time I photograph a giant house that has like 6-7 bedrooms, they're all cookie cutter houses too. They're really, really expensive, and they have no yard. They're right next to each other. Yeah. And they're $1 million plus, and I'm like,
God,
what is this is insane. And I go in there, and I'm like, really, you guys filling up all these family rooms, living room, random room, there's rooms everywhere. It's like it's insane. Unless you have like a huge family, there's no reason for these giant ass houses.
Yeah, and who has families that big anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Can't afford them.
Especially here in San Diego, You
can't afford that and the house.
Oh, right, yeah. You fucked.
You fucked too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those get me. That's what gets me too, is those houses, like, just because you're not getting any like land, I feel like. And that's just, to me, that's like, if you're gonna buy something, you really just want to, like, I just want to like dig my hands in it, like feel like, this is feel the dirt,
Exactly.
But, those kind of places get. I was like, I'd never spend that much money just to like look in my neighbor's yard all the time. Like, fuck my neighbor. I don't want them to see me.
What if you don't like your neighbor? You are surrounded. Left, right, neighbor in front of you, then the neighbor to the left and the right of them. Like, you are surrounded by people you may not necessarily like. Yeah. I know that growing up in an apartment, that's for sure.
Oh, God, absolutely.
My God, and you've experienced some shitty neighbors, too, in your apartment in Claremont. Yeah. It's not fun, and sometimes you don't want to be home because you hate the people that are around you. Either they're noisy, they're just plain shitheads, they're playing loud music, they're yelling, they're fighting, they're no consideration for anyone else around them. Maybe they're the ones that cause the roach problem because they're dirty, filthy, disgusting people, and they leave out food and shit, and you're like, well, thanks, motherfucker. I share walls with you, unfortunately, and now I got to deal with roaches or whatever, rats.
Yeah, can you imagine like investing in a place too?
Oh, like a condo or something. I don't get people that buy condos that are like used to be converted apartments or whatever. I'm like, what are you buying? You're buying a box. Yeah, it's insane.
It's
you still have to pay HOA.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
All right, I got to take care of this real quick.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Pause it here. And we're back. Well, moving on. Well, anyway, I just think it's great. It's been cool to follow your progress, and then obviously as like you progress and with your videos and whatnot, we can check back in and
and really, I want to start really doing and concentrating on videos when I actually move it in the van and I start experiencing the life of living in a van. So we'll definitely be documenting all that stuff. I'm planning on doing, if not a daily vlog, it'll at least be a every couple of day vlog of just kind of updating people. And I have a bunch of great ideas of just kind of showcasing the city I love, which is San Diego. Going around to different parts of San Diego that people would never even think of that would be like, oh, this is part of San Diego, like Ramona. It's an unincorporated town, but it's still in San Diego County. That's where Matt and I grew up, and at least I spent most of my life there, and Matt most of your later adolescence. And then all the coastal beaches, I want to kind of showcase each beach, how they have their different vibe, and just how, unique each spot is. I want to do a thing on California burritos, where I want to just try different California burritos throughout San Diego. I just got a bunch of great ideas for just getting myself out there and having a fun time doing videos and doing other creative things.
Right, stuff to keep you occupied.
Exactly, yeah.
Experience definitely new things.
Yeah, for sure.
But my drive now, I'm driving around San Diego a lot, and I haven't even covered a lot of San Diego, but I'm seeing new places all the time. I'm like, I've never even knew this shit was here.
Yeah,
So,
that is fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Especially, like, for me, like, I'm on the road getting paid kind of thing, but, like, because otherwise I'd have no reason to drive through these neighborhoods or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be cool.
All right, man. I'm getting very, very thirsty, especially now that we're smoking. So right now, I'm proud to finally introduce to you Pliny the Elder. That's right. It's my Pliny the Elder clone. All right, so I wish we had a Pliny the Elder to sample so we could test them. A little side comparison. I still have plenty of bottles, so I'm still on the hunt for at least one bottle of Pliny. So we could eventually taste test on the podcast. But just first looking at it,
I'm sorry. I had a question real quick.
Yeah, man.
And I know I've asked this before, but Pliny the Elder, or is the Elder or the Younger the more rare one? Because
I think, Pliny the Elder is the original, and Pliny the Younger, I believe, just because they make smaller batches of, is the more rare one.
Right.
Not necessarily the higher ranked when it comes to, how Pliny was usually ranked in the top, if not 5, at least the top 10 of IPAs. So yeah, I really should research that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Pliny the Younger is more of the rare
when they'll do
one.
batches, you have to get a ticket.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So this is Elder, and this is the clone of the Elder.
Exactly. So I just went online. I believe it's Northern Brewer. .com. They've got a bunch of clone kits. They've got Heady Topper clone kit, which I would love to try. Maybe I will buy it before I do move out of the cabin, because I won't be able to make beer while I'm in the van, unfortunately, because the beer's got to stay still and be in a nice, controlled environment in a way where you're able to control the temperature and all that good stuff. And so that would be fun to get a Heady Topper clone. Again, another very advanced recipe. With this Pliny the Elder clone, it was a lot of different hops were used, different stages where you added hops when it. So during the brewing process, pretty much just follow the instructions. So you buy all the ingredients. It comes in the kit, all the ingredients, all the hops, and then it's got the instructions on how to do it. So it's real easy. You just follow the recipe. And then as it's in the fermentation, it's in the carboy, which is about a 5.5, 6 gallon carboy. So that's a lot of beer. That's about 2 cases, which is about 48 beers. And then as it's fermenting, you add hops. You add dry hops to it. So that even adds more hoppiness to it. It adds more of a higher IBU, so a higher alcohol level. And so this is considered a double IPA.
Oh, okay.
So more hops, higher alcohol level. So
cool. Looks good.
It's finally here. Yeah, it does look good. To me, it's got a little bit more of an amber color than from what I remember the normal Pliny being. And this is about a month, maybe a month and a week old.
Okay.
Since it's been bottled.
What would you guess, or do you know about like the level of alcohol?
Oh shit! I had it written down somewhere.
Okay.
It's probably a high 7
Okay.
to 8 range.
And Sculpin is what, like 8 or 9?
Yeah. Oh well, normally a double IPA is like up in the 10s.
Right.
This just didn't happen to fall in that. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Ooh. That is really good.
It's pretty tasty.
That is very tasty.
It's got a lot of taste to it.
It does.
A lot of good flavors.
Oh
I'm
my
liking
gosh.
it.
That is like a whole concoction of flavor right there.
Yeah, man. Mm.
That is delicious.
It's definitely beer.
Definitely got like a very like heavy, rich kind of heavy taste to it.
Absolutely.
It's a little. I feel like it's a little sweet when you first taste it,
Mhm.
and then you feel like that really bitterness.
Yeah, then it definitely really kicks in.
Mm-hmm. I think it's been a while since I've actually had a beer this heavy.
Yeah. So there was Sentinel hops, Simcoe hops, Columbus, Continental. Shit, I think a couple more. Like there were a lot of different
strains of hops?
hop varieties.
Okay.
Which add different flavor tones and when they all kind of meld together and blend together, just kind of create this unique. That's really why Pliny is so great, is because they have all these different hops. It takes a lot more work to create this delicious brew. So, damn, I just wish we had a side by side. This is a good beer on its own. I don't know.
This
I don't
is
know.
really good.
You know what? It's got a bit of red to it. That's why I
Yeah.
call it. I got a little bit of on the ginger there. Yeah. Well, hey, I might have planned it like that. I don't know. Maybe I did add a little touch.
Maybe a little scruff just
Oh, right.
came
Yeah.
off
Exactly.
in the
Just like boom, dyed it.
Whoops. Dipped his toe in.
Yep. Well, I've got plenty of bottles, so we'll be savoring this over the remainder of the summertime.
Cool.
And I definitely want to get a couple more people's opinion on it, so we'll have Jason Heights on. We'll have a bottle with him. We'll have Rachel on, like we said on the Book Chat podcast. So yeah, we'll get their opinion on, and my plan is to find a real Pliny the Elder. We can have a side-by-side taste comparison.
Should save a bottle for Chaz and Chelsea, too.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do plan on saving a couple of bottles for people. Yeah, absolutely.
That is, I have to say, that is honestly super tasty.
It is
That
good.
like-
It definitely turned out.
Yeah, that's like one of the... I feel like, my beer consumption has dwindled lately, and I've been just sticking to the stuff I know, and I haven't really, been expanding my palate too much, but this, I feel like, throws it back to... when I was trying every beer I could come across, and getting that one that's just like, oh yeah, it's yummy. Good sipping, tab. It just looks really cool.
Well, good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
It feels good to make something. You go through all the steps. A lot of cleaning. Brewing beer, there's a lot involved. A lot of different steps. I mean, it's got to be. You got to be very sanitized. You got to make sure everything's clean, or you got to make sure you're going to be brewing in temperatures that are going to be, good for the beer when it comes down to the fermenting stage, because a lot of stuff can make it out of whack. And I've brewed beers that just weren't quite there.
Yeah,
and I brewed a bunch in the past that turned out great. So
yeah,
it all depends.
A couple years ago, you brewed. We had it at my apartment, and it was. I can't remember. It was a very sweet.
It was probably
it was
it was probably the Belgian wit.
Yes.
And that had an orange extract in it.
That's right, the orange.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, the orange.
Yep.
And I just remember that one being super delicious as well.
Yeah, that sounds
totally different.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's good to have a Belgian.
Would you brew beer if I lent you my brew cure?
I would like to.
I don't want to just pass it off on you and it's just going to sit there.
No.
Okay, then I'll just keep it in storage.
Yeah, if I move to a place with more space and everything, of course you do it here.
I know. I was just going to say,
live
in a mansion.
I just
His
think
room, Matt Whitney's room alone is it's the studio here.
but it's got a lot of clutter and and I share.
And there's two people living.
Yeah. And actually, my kitchen is not much bigger than this. You know, it just has an oven. I would love to, you know. Honestly, I was picturing brewing beer. I was just picturing a garage. I was like, oh yeah, if I had a garage, but I guess you don't really need a garage.
All right, dude. Well, I have 2 more kits left, and I keep saying this, but I want to have a brew party. Just get a couple of friends together who might be curious to just hang out and do it. Maybe I'll invite Chaz over. Maybe we'll do another beer cast because for last Thursday I threw out the beer cast as a TBT. So. If you follow the Facebook Cabin Fever podcast, you can listen to the beer cast. It was just all about beer. Chaz he brought a Pliny the Elder. He brought a Heady Topper, and he brought a couple of sours. Russian River. Yeah. Ooh, so that was an awesome podcast, by the way. Mm-hmm. So we should do another podcast, and we should also brew beer in the process.
In the meantime, if you're listening to this, go ahead and tweet at us or email us, just some your favorite beers, you know?
Yeah.
Give us some little obscure stuff maybe we haven't heard of that we're, missing out on.
Yeah, some recommendations, anything and everything.
Even if it's not obscure. Maybe we just haven't found it yet.
Yeah, especially sours, too. If you have any sour recommendations... because they're more of a rare beer, I think. Not that many places, because it takes a little bit more work to make them. So if you have any sour recommendations or any beer.
Yeah.
I'm a big IPA head, so.
Yeah. And I'm open to whatever. You know, I had a nice Belgian beer at a bar recently, and I forgot how great they are. Just like a lighter, easier, I guess,
they're crisp,
summertime beer.
They're crisp, and they're light. Sometimes if you drink a couple too many IPAs, you just feel a little weighted down.
Yeah.
A little bloated.
And your mouth is like...
Yes,
dry.
You're like, I need
out.
something to, cut this bitterness that I've been drinking. Because really, beer is an acquired taste. When I first tried beer, if I was to try an IPA, when I first started tasting beers, I would have poured it out and threw it in the person's face who gave it to me. What is this? Are you trying to poison me?
I thought we were friends.
Yeah. You said this was Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, it really is. Really, what I think Sculpin was the one that won me over as far as the real heavy bitterness one, because I just couldn't do it beforehand. I didn't care, and I don't know. Sculpin isn't a great tasting beer at first either. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's the aftertaste kicks in, and you're like, oh, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah,
and it makes you kind of want to drink more. And then the grapefruit, of course, is just so good. It's so sweet and tasty.
Yeah, that's the perfect river beer is a pineapple Sculpin or a Sculpin.
Yeah, if you're gonna drink a heavy beer.
Yeah.
In the in the heat and everything.
hot heat.
Yes. So. But this was pretty successful.
Thank you, man. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's my little child.
Yeah.
I birthed this into the world.
No, I'll try to be as honest as possible.
No,
but I don't really feel like you missed a step here.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So the next kit I have, these are kind of boring, but I haven't done an Irish Red before.
Oh, okay.
So I've got an Irish Red up there, and then I've got another wheat beer, or not a wheat. It's a wheat beer. Yeah, which I've done wheat before. That's actually the first brew I ever did was a wheat beer. An Evans Weizen.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm noticing a theme here with you.
Well, you gotta attach to something,
So, Shawnee the Elder, right?
Shawnee the Elder.
Okay,
yep.
Good. I like it.
Great success.
That's good.
Okay. So, should we transition? Let's talk a little bit about UFC.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. So, I don't know if you've heard, but Brock Lesnar.
Yes, I saw something about that.
He got busted.
So is that official?
By USADA. Yeah, it's official. I didn't look into it because I'm like, I don't care anymore. Whatever. Yeah. Fine. I don't think he doesn't give a shit. He made, from what I heard, I don't know, he made $2.5 million for that fight. $2.5 fucking million. I don't think he gives a fuck. Unless it's in his contract, if you get busted, you got to give portion of that money back, he doesn't give a fuck if he got busted. He's got a contract with WWE right now. He's going to go wrestle in SummerSlam in a few weeks. The dude, I think he didn't care. He's just like, I'm just going to try to pass as many tests as I can leading up to it, make my bank, and adios.
It's so true. I mean, that guy was so cut. And obviously they have to maintain that physique for WWE, I'm assuming, because it's, such a big show and everything like that. So, I mean, his physicality was just incredible.
Yep.
And so that's just how they do it.
And a lot of people were talking about how great he looked.
Yeah.
And you want to think he's doing it the right way. You want to think he's training. You want to think he hired a nutritionist to help him.
Yeah.
You want to believe that stuff, but at a certain point, I think he's 38 years old. You can't look that way without a little bit of help from old science.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the science that it takes to look like that it's against the rules when it comes to fighting legally.
Right.
Here, under the rules of UFC.
I feel like, and we can jump into this later about the expansion of UFC, but I feel like it seems like such a clusterfuck of things, because you have to ask yourself, like, okay, maybe he did that to maintain his physique and everything, but did it affect his performance? Was that why he was so advantageous against Mark Hunt? Like, it's got to be hard for them to, with the rate of science and the money involved and what those fighters have access to, and then a governing body to try to compete with that, to like flag this kind of stuff. I feel like it's got to be a constant thing that's always in motion,
Right.
Traces of this, traces of that, what does that mean is it just to acquire muscle mass, or is it really helping you in the ring, like get some extra speed in there, because that guy was fast.
Oh, very
for as big as he was.
Exactly.
He really surprised me with his speed.
Extremely agile. Really had no trouble with Mark Hunt. It really seemed like Mark Hunt was having trouble with Brock, though. That's for sure.
He just didn't know how to come at him.
Mark Hunt's done a couple of interviews since then, and he talked about, look, I'm not juicing. So maybe looking at his now 12-11 record, 12 wins now that he just lost, his 11th loss was to Brock. Maybe he's facing a bunch of juiced up assholes.
Maybe we're seeing a pure fighter.
Exactly.
And this is the result.
Who's trying to compete against a bunch of people that are getting busted. Because look, USADA didn't come in when Marks first started fighting, those rules weren't there. So he could have been fighting a bunch of dudes. And a bunch of guys have been busted and are slowly having to retire. Frank Mir got busted for basically this kind of similar thing with John Jones, which they find out it's 2 estrogen blockers. So something he was taking in his supplements or his regimen or whatever he was doing, those traces are in there, and I guess that creates more testosterone if you're blocking estrogen or something, and I guess that does give you an advantage. And Cormier, like he said, he's clean and has always been clean.
Yeah.
So maybe that one loss to John Jones is an asterisk, because maybe Jones was in fact juicing or able to get through that testing.
Right.
Who knows? I don't know.
That whole situation is just like an endless clusterfuck of.
And I don't think he needed to do that. Any supplements, just do it clean, man. Because there are plenty of fighters. At least they're claiming to do it. Eddie Alvarez, who just won during that whole week of UFC 200, he won the light heavyweight title against a Brazilian, and the Brazilians are very well known for juicing, doping, trying to get that edge.
Right.
And a lot of them have started losing, and their physiques have changed and things like that. So it's something to look into. So right now we're in a very strange period because they're really cracking down on key fighters. Like imagine what if Brock and John both got caught before 200. 200 is a different card then. It's very different. It's not
the
200.
draw's not the
it's
same.
not. It's just a normal UFC.
Yeah.
Even though you do have Misha Tate there competing with the title, and you had the other Aldo and Edgar. That's not enough not for a 200 card. So thankfully Brock at least was there because that's really why I was at that point was most excited about, was probably just seeing Brock and curious. And then, of course, the Aldo Edgar fight I was very curious about.
It's just, you want, I think, and what they want, obviously, is 2 clean fighters going at it and really seeing who's the best without enhancement.
Yep.
And that's good. That's what I would like to see in the sport. But like any professional sports, I mean, these guys have, a lot on the line as far as, they're being paid an incredible amount, and they're bringing in people to watch it, and they want their ego, they want to retain their title, and that stuff is at their fingertips, and it's just a question of, how they want to go about it, and it's got to be so easy. I would imagine as a fighter at like Cormier's level, I'm sure people have come to him and saying like, look, we can give you this won't show up. You know what I mean? Like the temptation I would imagine is always there.
Absolutely.
And I would hope like a fight like Aldo's fight, neither of them were juicing, because I feel like that was such a good fight, that went a good length for a title fight and everything, and like even between like you and I, or you breaking it down for me, like we really didn't know how it was going to go, you know, and it showed during the fight, like Aldo just was the better fighter, and like I feel like that's what you want to see, just people like going at it raw and getting a good outcome,
And I think I truly think it was a complete fluke. Aldo and McGregor, that fight when he got knocked out in 13 seconds. Because look, Aldo, when he's on and he's competing against someone who's his similar size, which Frankie is, they're appropriately matched. Yeah. And Frankie's always been against any doping, any trying to get any advantage over a fighter. He's all about training his ass off, and he trains with Eddie Alvarez, who just won. So these guys, they're doing it by the book. They're competing their hearts off. I mean, Aldo was obviously, like, he looked great. He was phenomenal. Yeah. It would suck to hear if, like, he got busted. I don't think he will, but... Yeah. Like you said, that's what they want to get it down to. They want 2 fighters competing against each other, completely clean, no advantages through science, and just pure heart, will, and hard work and determination. And I totally agree with that. It just sucks because I really wanted to see John Jones and Cormier. But if John Jones, if he stays in the straight and narrow, I don't know if... I guess he still has a chance to appeal this. He might get less time, maybe a year suspension, which would be great because that still leaves Cormier and him a chance to actually compete against each other. 2 years, Cormier is an older fighter, and I just don't know if he's going to stay. Right. He's very competitive right now, but who knows who's going to come up. Right. Because Cormier is probably going to fight Rumble Johnson, or I think Rumble Johnson and this other dude are going to be Grover Teixeira are going to be fighting, and then whoever wins that fight is going to fight for the title. Fight for the title. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see what happens now.
What happened with Weidman? Is he still in contention?
He's still in contention. Yeah. See, he got injured. He had neck surgery, so
I see.
He's not able to fight for the middleweight title right now. But right now, for the middleweight, it's going to be Bisping and Dan Henderson. Oh, okay. They're both older fighters. When they first fought each other, Dan knocked the shit out of Bisping. Like, really knocked him out. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was like a flying Superman punch. And that later became Dan Henderson's logo, was him knocking Bisping out. So there is a lot of history there. Yeah. A lot of people are saying Dan doesn't deserve the title shot. I think he's ranked number 9 or 8 in the middleweight. Oh, okay. He did just win. But the UFC, it doesn't really come down to the rankings all the time. They want to make matches that people want to see. Right. And I want to see this. Why not? Yeah. Bisping versus Dan Henderson. It should be a good fight. Why not? Because I really do think Bisping is... he's also an older fighter. He's got a fucked up eye, and who knows how long he'll be able to keep the title. He's an exciting... Like, he'll pump up the crowd in the fight. He's British, so he's got a lot of, like, charisma and shit-talking skills. So it'd be fun to see him compete as the middleweight champ. And I think his fight is coming up... I think they're at 202. Oh, okay. UFC 202.
Isn't that when McGregor's coming back for 202?
Yes. Oh, yeah, okay. I think they're on the same bill, or maybe 203. I don't know. There's a fight that they keep talking about at Madison Square Garden, because New York is now a new market, because they can finally fight there. Yeah. It used to be illegal. It's crazy. It was just the... I think they were saying it was the restaurant union or something about the unions there in New York.
Really?
They
They
needed to get their cut, basically.
Really?
So I think they finally figured out a good...
That's some crazy politics right there.
yeah, New York's a crazy place.
But that's cool, though. Madison Square Garden,
Yeah.
what an incredible venue.
Yeah, so yeah, Weidman, he's a New Yorker, or, from the States, so I'm pretty sure he's competing in that fight.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to Aldo, too, that's all I kept saying, after that fight. It was like, man, I really wish, because I, was relatively unfamiliar with him going into the McGregor fight, and it's just like, you could see what he can really do when he's not, suffers a devastating loss, like right in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think McGregor in that fight was in his head, though?
Oh,
Maybe,
absolutely, definitely.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That's why he came at him so strong without really taking his time and doing his thing.
Oh, for sure, sure. I mean, from all that I've heard, that Aldo has never faced a fighter like Conor McGregor when it comes to the shit talking and the psychological game that comes with just getting into a man's mind and completely breaking him down, and that definitely showed because Aldo wasn't Aldo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he really just kind of rushed in and suffered.
Which is crazy too because the one shot he got in, he bloodied up Conor McGregor's eye. So I'm like, he still hit him fucking hard, but Conor's left hand is just notorious for knocking dudes out, especially at that weight class.
Did you see there was a picture that like kind of went viral, whatever, and I don't know if it was during the fight or like right as Aldo finished his fight, but you can see the crowd behind him, and, McGregor's just standing by himself.
Such an insane photo. And McGregor just has this intense look. He's just watching this fight. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And the photo was great because it's got Aldo and Eddie. They're like blurred out and in focus. In the background is Conor.
Yeah, you just see his eyes.
Yes.
And he's the only one standing like, in the whole place. Or in the front at least. And then
it was such a perfectly timed photo.
Like if this was WWE, he would have ran in the ring and just started fighting him. Like,
Oh,
I'm surprised.
So
like maybe if there was like bad blood. I mean, I'm sure it's not a great thing going on, but like you're almost surprised McGregor didn't run up to the cage too and just was like, "You ready for me again?" Or just to fuck with him or something. But that was really intense and just. I mean, what that guy brings to the sport, I think is amazing. You know what I mean? Like he's just not afraid to talk shit, put himself out there, boast himself up. He's got the skills to back it up. And then even when he suffers a loss on the scale of what he did, to own up, I lost. And then,
absolutely.
And then to rematch when he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
It just like I think he's just really smart and he like plays the game like really well. And then I saw a little video of him behind the scenes of that night, just kind of in the back area. Just meeting people. The woman that fight the night before and won, she had a weird last name. I don't remember. I think it was like
June Janechuk?
Yeah, June Janechuk. Yeah. Came by and he was like extremely like humble, like shaking her hand, just like giving her endless props. Like anyone that was coming up, shaking their hand, talking to them, like just showing like he's putting himself out there. He's not like
he's not like hiding away.
Exactly. He's not too full of himself to shy away.
Right.
And I'm like as like devastating as you are, like that makes me like him so much, for the sportsmanship of it all. And I think it just he suffered his loss so well that it just makes me. I like to see that. Like I like Aldo's sportsmanship during his match, where they're really giving it their all, but at the end, very humble and like appreciative of what they're doing and stuff like that. And I think as the UFC is expanding, like. That's the kind of stuff you want to see, like you can get the shit talking, cutthroat stuff beforehand and really, fight it, but like, there's still that sportsmanship air about it for a sport that's so violent.
And that's what fans are going to gravitate towards. They're going to gravitate towards people that are like that are awesome in victory and even better in defeat.
Right.
Because McGregor, he was doing really well in that match, but the gas ran out, and he just kind of... It's either he's going to get knocked out or he's going to get tapped out. And he went for the easier route and tapped out. So I commend him, and for him to... Now he's actually training for actually training for Nate Diaz
Right.
this time. Instead of just thinking that he's just going to blow through this guy,
True.
he's taken it, responsibly as a great, true champion and fighter should. And he's bringing in lanky guys that are like Diaz, who fight like Diaz, and I think this is going to be a much better fight. And Diaz actually gets to train too, because he had not been training leading up into that fight.
Yeah.
The first time that he started throwing punches and getting punched at was when he was in the ring with Connor.
Yeah.
That's a big deal because there's a lot of timing and a lot of head movement. You got to like get back into that frame of mind of a fighter, and this is going to be a crazy fight coming up between those two. But man, you are so right about just great sportsmanship. I think Cormier handled all that shit very, very well, and it was really unfortunate they were booing during a lot of you remember the fans booing during the Cormier-Anderson fight just because he kept keeping it on the ground, and
Oh, right.
a lot of people were
Right.
They wanted to see more of a fight,
yeah.
and Cormier was keeping it on the ground where he's most comfortable and
Yeah.
knows that he can win the fight.
Yeah.
Anderson could have easily knocked him out because, I mean, he still has his power. He's still got those great kicks. He's still got these great punches and head movements and working. But Cormier was just way too heavy, and his wrestling is superior to being able to compete with Anderson.
Yeah.
But it was great to see Anderson. I thought that was cool seeing him out there. But it's four losses. But Anderson's going to keep fighting. I hope the next one. I hope he throw him a bone. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like that was a move to be like we lost our main card. We got to keep this exciting.
You got to throw another heavyweight, or, not literal heavyweight, but a
contender,
a name out there.
Yeah.
That's Anderson Silva. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was all right, but.
I'm kind of glad that it's over. Now we can move on to more of the UFCs you can look forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to Connor and Nate. I'm looking forward to that fight and just the future of UFC. And because now it's officially sold for $4 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's official. Dana White's still staying on like everyone predicted. And so it should be interesting to see how it goes here. I really hope that they change the whole Reebok deal because, I don't know if you know, the fighters don't get paid as much because when they had sponsorship on their shorts and they had their banners and things like that, you can make money with sponsorship.
Right.
And now they're limited to just Reeboks, and Reebok doesn't pay that much. So really you're just hoping the UFC will pay you fighting bonuses, submission of the night, I don't think they do KO of the night, but I think it's just fight of the night and things like that.
Right. Yeah,
an extra $50,000.
Right.
I mean,
I'm interested to see now what changes will be made.
Yeah.
As this sport is just gonna, and I'm sure they have a plan in place really to make it bigger than it.
Because the Reebok thing was to legitimize the sport, to like bring it to the next level. How Nike sponsors, I think the NFL, they all wear Nike gear and things like that. So we'll see. I would not doubt if maybe in 10 years it's all Nike gear, when UFC is huge and it's like the fighting thing. It's on, I know it's on ESPN and SportsCenter, but even more now,
Yeah. I guess,
Because the great thing about this, it's a worldwide sport. You got Brazilians, you got people from New Zealand, Australia, Europe, all these different countries, Thailand, they can all compete in the UFC, which is great. And the world can come together and watch these people on pay-per-view and things like that.
Right.
It's pretty exciting.
I wonder if, I feel like it's, and especially with this move and it being worldwide, it's definitely going to overtake boxing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all I can think about boxing-wise was the Manny Pacquiao. And,
right,
Floyd,
Floyd,
that was like a really worldwide kind of like event.
Yeah.
But I also remember being kind of boring, because you just, like, it's, I don't know, UFC is so much more exciting. It's so much, like, unpredictability, I guess, and it's just
the
fighting
world of
sport.
It's
of
mixed martial arts. You have so many different aspects of martial arts that can come together into one fight. Like, it can be a fight that's on the ground the whole time, and people are wrestling or doing jiu-jitsu, or you have two guys that are just willing to duke it out, and they're just fucking pummeling each other in the face and kicking each other in the legs and shit. So it's just it's an extremely fun, exciting sport to watch. and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's not a fixed sport. If it was fixed, I really do think Conor McGregor would have beaten Nate somehow. And
Yeah.
it would have, would have went down. Like, it would have been manipulated somehow, because just like... And I'm not saying that every single game and all that stuff is fixed, but I do think there's shenanigans going on with referees and certain key players in NFL, NBA, NHL, soccer, all these major sports. There are shenanigans that definitely go down when it comes down to big money events and things like that, and gambling, because if you don't think that's going on, you're pretty ignorant. You should probably really look into money rules the world, I'm sorry to say. Like,
especially, like, like... You can sell an underdog coming up to like the Super Bowl or whatever, but if you have some two middle of the road teams coming into a Super Bowl, everyone that's involved knows, like, well, our viewership. Well, maybe Super Bowl is like a bad example because like everyone watches the Super Bowl, but
no matter what,
the stakes aren't as high though. Like as Peyton Manning in his final season coming through and winning the Super Bowl
that goes along with that.
Yeah,
and. ESPN and Fox Sports, they're almost TMZ now, because they talk about as much stuff of these guys fucking up off the field or off the court or off wherever sport that they're doing, off the racetrack. They're reporting on all that shit too, and they turn these guys into celebrities and shit.
Yeah, and then that brings us to Kevin Durant signing with the Warriors.
Oh yeah, that was a huge deal.
Making like the super team. Yeah,
yeah.
But it's just like, people are so against it, too, because, like, you really have just paid for this super team, and he's only signed on for one season, and it's just, like, people are like, again, it's not fair, that's not what they want, and stuff like that, but it's all hype. Like, every time they talk about it, non-basketball fans are now going to tune in to see Kevin Durant play with the Warriors and see just how badly they can demolish another team.
Right.
So,
they've been doing
it's just
this,
all talk.
They've been doing this for years. Like, the Miami Heat got stacked with Shaq, and then eventually got LeBron James to come from the Cavs.
Not Shaq, though.
No, Shaq was on the Heat for a
No, he
while.
was on Orlando Magic.
He was on the Magic?
Yeah.
I thought he was on the Heat as well for a little bit.
Did he go to the Heat after?
I thought he did for a while.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
He did jump around to a couple of different teams toward the end. But he...
Maybe you're right, then. Because I know he was on the Magic before he went to the Lakers.
I don't know. I'm not a basketball guy. Matt's probably right. He was... get a couple of drinks in me, and he was on the he was on the Heat too. Why not?
Yeah, but I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yes, okay,
they've been stacking teams like this.
They do it,
and it works.
All sports. The Yankees were a powerhouse for a long time because Steinbrenner would just fucking buy all the good players,
right?
And
sometimes it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Exactly. The Yankees weren't that great with all those. I mean, they did win the championship.
Crazy teams come out of nowhere, like what was it? The Blue Jays.
For the past few seasons.
Yeah. Now they're the power team.
Right.
What the fuck? The
Blue Jays and the Royals.
Come on, Padres. Come on. Why not? Let's get some pod love.
You wanna hear some depressing news about the Padres?
Yes, I do.
Is that
because I have not paid attention to anything.
And I haven't either. And it just so happened that I landed on this, but they just traded one of their all-star pitchers.
Typical.
To the Red Sox for 2 Red Sox players. And this guy's an all-star, and their justification of the trade was because they can't really use an all-star right now because they don't plan on being a contender until 2019. And that was their reason. So they're basically saying, like, this guy's kind of too good for our team because we don't even think we're going to be a contender for another 3 years, 2.5 years. So he's kind of a waste to have here when we can maybe trade him and get some other players in.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, who released that information? Because it's like, we as fans, you don't want to hear, like, that's probably true through and through, but it's just like, you don't want to hear, like, oh, even your own team's not, like, betting on your own team, you know?
Let me give you guys, who may not be from San Diego, a little backstory. So, the San Diego Padres, back in the mid to late 90s, they go to the World Series.
Yeah.
Huge fanship. We were doing awesome.
They win a championship.
Yes.
They win a division.
Yes.
And then 2 years later, they go to the World Series.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are a team that's doing well. Like we're talked about. We're awesome. So a lot of fans, because San Diego, kind of a fair weather city.
Right.
A lot of transplant people too as well. So for the hardcore Padre fans, it was a huge deal. All right, so this is great. They're playing at Qualcomm Stadium. It's an old stadium. It's the Chargers are still playing there. Definitely not a baseball stadium. So now this is big deal. They make this big deal to build Petco Park downtown, a brand new stadium. All this to look forward to. We're still thinking we have this great team. We're gonna go to the World Series again.
Yeah.
We're gonna be able to do it in our new park. Nope. For every single year since we've had that new ballpark, this is what they do. We have a couple of great players. We have a couple of awesome, phenomenal players, and we can't do anything. We just stay typically the last team in our division, and then we got to trade away these awesome players because we can't do it. We can't afford them. And then, this is, I guess our plan is 2019, people. We're coming. We're coming for you.
And who knows what that's even based on, you know?
That's
awful.
Yeah, there's some strategist who probably won't even be with the Padres in 3 years.
All right, I got to take it home.
Yeah.
In the park with picket signs, you wouldn't really hear about it. But the fact that they're making such a big deal and stopping so much traffic, it brings a lot of attention. I think that's what their point was. But now it's just getting a little out of hand.
We switched gears and we're talking about people protesting on the freeways.
BLM.
BLM. Oh yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
I was thinking about
well, they keep hashtagging that. I'm like,
yeah.
Bureau of Land Management. What? What are they? Why do they keep saying that? I'm like, oh, Black Lives Matter. Oh.
You know, people at the bureau though are like,
yeah, they're like, whoa, we're getting some traction on
right now.
Twitter right now. This is great.
Well, while you were here, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were discussing how Black Lives Matter. To protest, they're going out and blocking freeways. And on Friday, I think it was the 15th. Yeah, the 15th was what they were calling the Day of Rage. So that was where they were collectively coming together as different pockets of Black Lives Matter throughout the country. Certain cities, they're going to block traffic to get their message across and to promote their...
Yeah.
They're trying to promote.
Get some eyes on their
get some eyes on their cause and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Like, that, you know, they're going to do that because news is going to cover that, like, people marching on the freeway to stop traffic and stuff. But, I don't know, there's so much just danger in it that it's just, like, seems so inappropriate.
I feel like there's a better way to win the people that are being blocked in traffic.
True.
I don't think they're thinking like, oh, you know what, I should get out of my car and join these guys. No, you're thinking, I got to get to work, I got to get home,
right.
There's an emergency I need to attend to, there's something,
yeah.
People are living their lives, and I get you want to wake people up, and you want to bring people into the way you're thinking, and to, you know, get that out into people's consciousness that there might be a problem from your point of view, but blocking traffic, it just seems dangerous on both ends.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you're going to build resentment more than you are understanding.
How I would take
it.
If I was stuck in traffic, I'd be like, if this is a Black Lives Matter thing, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here for a couple hours. And all those people get arrested, and they get charged quite a lot of money. And
yeah.
I get it. You got to get out there, and you got to protest. You got to make a point. You got to get your voice heard. Just... I don't know, there's got to be better ways of doing it.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, if people were protesting for higher wages for Costco employees, I still couldn't get behind it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, come on, guys. Let's do it better.
I know, right, yeah. So what if there was like a line drawn in the sand and people like, because you were at Albertsons when they started the picketing and everything. And this was years and years ago. What year, do you remember?
That was 2003.
Wow, yeah. So that was a while ago. So if Costco employees, if they did that, would you be a scab, or would you continue doing your thing?
Man,
like saying if you were still working in the store.
Right. It'd be such a harder decision to make nowadays. Because I don't know what else I could do. You know what I mean? Like, in the meantime. So
to supplement the income and all that, yeah.
I don't know if I could cross, though. Like, if all my fellow employees weren't crossing and stuff like that, I would have a hard time.
Because there was something with the Costco crew. I mean, a lot of you guys are just friends, like out in the store and outside of the store. I mean, you guys like to party.
Exactly. And luckily for us, with Costco, there are unions and there
Yes.
are non-union buildings
Yeah,
too. And
I worked at a union store.
oh, that's right.
I wasn't a part of the union. I wasn't there long enough, but I did experience the Costco life.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've only been a part of a non-union store, and they're with Teamsters, which
Yep.
is such a solid union too that I don't ever see that happening. But they did move to strike. The grocery stores have moved to strike, and so if they can't negotiate anything, they will strike again. And I think it'll be just the death knell for that union because people just don't care as much anymore about the United Grocery Union.
Right.
And it was interesting back then to see kind of like the opposition, because back in the day with the union, like you could make a good living as like a grocery worker, and that's why the union existed. And
I contemplated
yeah,
why not? I mean,
my mom's been a
become
part
a
of it
cashier,
for,
you make a good living.
yeah, for like 35 years. She's been in it. All the health benefits have benefited us kids and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it was easy to strike on their behalf back then, but that strike went so long, they ended up losing out on a lot of things, and then people that were hired after us, didn't get the same benefits or the same wages or anything like that. And
So in the long run, do you think it hurt the employees?
I think it hurt. Yeah, I think it hurt. It didn't hurt anyone that was already there, but it's not the same industry as it was.
Yeah,
Of like
no.
I could start here and build a career.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Because growing up in Ramona, I remember seeing the same ladies, the same moms that had kids that I was going to school with. They were the same cashiers, year after year. Like you build a relationship with these people. Now it's like, who the fuck?
Right.
I've never met this person before.
Right.
It's a revolving door.
And then you have everyone uses the grocery store, but like not everyone understands principles of unionizing and how it really does benefit the worker. And a lot of people don't care.
Right.
Like they just want to go in and get the cheapest thing possible. But what you don't see is a store start to suffer, or at least like customer service starts to suffer. And at the very opposite end of the spectrum is Walmart, a company that like doesn't pay their employees well at all, rarely gives them raises, and doesn't have health benefits and stuff like that. And if you see grocery stores go that route, I mean, the overall quality of what you're getting when you go to the grocery store is just going to completely diminish.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think if Walmart, if they adopted the Costco, the way they structure their employees, higher pay scale and all that, you'd get a much higher grade employee, and I think you'd obviously get a better shopping experience too.
yeah,
But they've got
But
so
you
many
wouldn't have,
employees.
and you wouldn't have the bottom of the barrel pricing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
All your pricing would change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's like dirt cheap at Costco, or not Costco, but at Walmart, because they pay their employees dirt cheap, as little as they can pay them, and get away with it, and they don't care if they have a revolving door of people, because it's weird to think about, but drive across this country, and there are towns that are just made up of Walmarts and Home Depots.
Yeah.
That's the only reason people even are in that area.
Yeah.
Are the employees.
It's the lifeblood of the whole.
That's the lifeblood.
place.
That's it. So you need these types of places, I guess, to fuel towns across
Yeah.
America. It's weird.
Yeah, definitely weird.
Weird.
Well, it's been a good pie. It's covered a lot of ground today.
Oh man, we did.
Yeah,
Man, we did.
I had
So
some
good.
excellent fuel.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm so glad you liked it. So look for Shawnee the Pliny or Shawnee the Elder.
You should change the name now to that.
Shawnee the Elder.
Shawnee the Pliny.
On store.
Yeah.
Green shelves soon at all your local stores.
Hey, hit up Sean on Twitter, and maybe he'll send you a bottle. There you go.
I could do that.
Yeah, try it yourself.
Be the first one to do it. If you're the first one to do it, you get a bottle
Yeah.
for free. All right, so let's do our signing out. I am Sean Evans Photo. That's SeanEvansphoto. That's on Instagram, Twitter, and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Snapchat as well.
And you can reach me at PacMatt on Twitter, PACMATT, and give us your beer recommendations.
Yes,
Talk
please.
about them
Yes,
on the
yes,
podcast.
yes. And the Explorers Guild Volume 1. Go read it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's your